Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, this is my channel, an absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And it's time, folks, it's time for the fourth installment of my G.I. Joe Classified series, Packaging Easter Eggs Review. Yes, that's right, we've got just enough now, I reckon, looking at my notes, to get a good, solid video out, taking a look at the Easter eggs, the G.I. Joe related Easter eggs that reside hidden away in the packaging artwork of the G.I. Joe Classified figures. Specifically, the digital render artwork that appears now on the back of the boxes. So I've gathered up a few here, a couple of comic book ones, a couple of cartoony ones. I'll walk you through them, point them out, give you a little peek at the Easter egg source, and, you know, then you'll know what the Easter egg is, I suppose. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at some Easter eggs, shall we? And folks, I'm going to get started with number 147 in the line, the Saw Viper. And if you have a little peek down there by his left foot, on the right-hand side of the image, you can see a helmet, a very familiar helmet, in fact. Is this helmet, in fact, Doc's helmet, folks? And this is a reference to the now infamous issue 109 of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, known as the Casualties of War issue, in which, and plug your ear holes if you don't want spoilers, a mission to Trucial Abysmia is underway. A G.I. Joe task force is sent to, what are they sent there to do? Knock out a terrordrome. They're captured by the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zaymot, a couple of Vipers and a Saw Viper, and, well, not just those guys, there's loads of them. They get thrown into a pit while they're being held captive. Doc peeks his head over the top, and the Saw Viper, who is later known to be Robert Skelton, takes care of business, kills Doc, as well as a number of other Joes, including Heavy Metal, the first version of Heavy Metal, Crankcase, Thunder. I think Quick Kick gets you wounded. Anyway, it's an infamous issue, if for no other reason than the weird characterization of Cobra Commander and the Crimson Twins all getting squeamish about killing all of a sudden. But yeah, that's the reason for the helmet. That's the Easter egg, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Now then, this wave is rife with Easter eggs because the next two figures, which are number 148 and 149, Dial Tone and Leatherneck, both have an Easter egg reference, the same Easter egg reference, in fact, in the back of their artwork. So let's give you a peek at Dial Tone first. There it is, and you can see in the background, we've got this weird kind of flying sorcery type thing in the background. And then if we take a look at Leatherneck, you can see the same, zoom in, there you go, you can see the same flying saucer effect thing in the background. Dial Tone is there. I know what's the what with this thing. Well, folks, I believe that this is a reference to a G.I. Joe cartoon episode called Joe's Night Out. In the episode, which features Dial Tone and Leatherneck, you know, as featured characters alongside Wetsuit, the three lads, they go for a night out. Dial Tone's hooked up a triple date for them all with his girlfriend and two friends for his own mates. So they go out and meet the ladies. They go to a club, which is on a spire with a big spherical flying sorcery looking thing at the top. There's drinks, there's dancing, there's laughing, but it turns out the club is actually a trap set by Serpentor, and they get fired off into space inside the spherical aspect of the club, and later on in the episode it crashes down just as depicted in the Easter egg artwork. Let's take a look at that scene at the back end of the episode.
Welcome back to Earth. You said it.
Dial Tone, honey, remember how I told you I never had any excitement when we went out? Well, forget I said that.
Say, big fella, think some evening we might pick up where we left off before we got interrupted?
Affirmative.
Oh, gee, Leatherneck, you're a hero.
Why me? Why me?
So while the scale seems a bit wrong in the Easter egg image, I'm pretty sure that that's the club from Joe's Night Out, folks. Now, that was a long clip I've used there. Just heads up, FYI, is likely that this video is being demonetized, so make sure you click a like down below to at least say a little thank you, because I'm probably going to miss out on a little bit of ad revenue cash, and that has an impact on my Amazon accessory reviews, so, you know, do us a solid, click the like. Okay, folks, well, I'm looking ahead now, and these are figures that have been made available for pre-order. They've been on the recent G.I. Joe fan stream that took place, so they're out there, and you can go and make your pre-orders. However, the packaging artwork has been released, and I've clocked a few Easter eggs in there. This next one, we're going to take a look at 153, the Frag Viper. And before I go any further, massive shout-out to my man Bobby Dubs. The DIC cartoons are not a strength of mine, and it was my man Bobby Dubs who helped me pin this one down. I sort of knew, I was like, that's relevant, I've seen that before somewhere, but Bobby Dubs, like that, boom, called it right out of the gate, no messing. And if we zoom in, as you can see from the image there, the Frag Viper, well, the team of Frag Vipers there are inside a temple. There's like a temple carpet floor thing. There's a big golden statue in the background, and Bobby and I believe that this is the scene in the temple from Operation Dragonfire. Let me show you the scene I'm talking about.
Rock and roll, you hear something?
Sounds like footsteps. Must have been me.
I don't think so.
Let's get him, boys! Ah!
Now then, the gold statue in that clip that you've just seen doesn't match up to the gold statue we're seeing in the background there. However, in some earlier scenes, they're walking through the temple from Operation Dragonfire, and there are some that look like kind of rat-headed, multi-armed gods. There's all sorts of different statues in there. So I think they've taken a different statue from a different point in the episode and placed that in the background of the image. At least that's my belief. I think that's an Easter egg pointing at the Operation Dragonfire episode. So next up, folks, we've got 154 Blowtorch, another upcoming pre-order. We can see in the background of the image, if we zoom in, that we've got a bridge layer with the bridge laid out across a ravine, and the bridge layer tank is making its way across the other side where we've got some Cobra Troopers. There's a bit of a temple in the background, and this is an Easter egg reference to a Sunbow episode called Red Rocket's Glare. In the episode, in that temple in the background, Destro is hidden out there with some Cobra Troopers. He's doing some like weapons experimenty stuff like he's, like to do. That's what he does. And Blowtorch is on the team, the G.I. Joe team, that are going out there to go and interfere with Destro's nefarious plans. On the team with Blowtorch, Recondo's leading the team. We've got Roadblock there, and of course you've got Toll Booth driving the old bridge layer, the old toss and cross that they use to get over the bridge to go and defeat the Cobras on the other side.
Destro must feel mighty secure. He hasn't even a guard out here. Maybe, because no one has ever been able to get over this ravine without Destro's help. But that's gonna change any minute now. Okay, it ought to hold. Toll Booth, you and the bridge layer can do your trick now!
So there it is, folks. There's the Easter egg. Funnily enough, this episode, it goes on a kind of... so you got this, like, start where they're going after Destro in the temple. And then it takes a complete right turn, and the focus of the episode, it becomes Roadblock and Recondo visiting Roadblock's relatives who are running a restaurant. And it goes in a whole different direction. It's an odd switcheroo. Anyway, there you go. So there we are, folks. That's what number was he now? I've lost track. 154, Blowtorch. So, folks, next on the list is number 156, Footloose. As you can see, we've got another wave here that is just lousy with Easter eggs in this digital render artwork on the back of the packaging. And if we zoom in, we can see that Footloose is out in the desert there. We've got a tank in the background, Dusty. There's another tank on its back, flames coming from the treads. And this is a reference to a Sunbow era episode by the name of Hearts and Cannons. Let's take a quick peek.
Shoot, Footloose! Now!
Come on, baby! Fire!
So in the episode, Destro is developing a new experimental tank for Cobra. In order to do this, he kidnaps a scientist to create the new tank. Footloose and Dusty are sent to go and rescue the dude. They ally with an Arabian prince out in the desert who helps them out as well. And so the flipped over tank that's on fire is the presumably, as you saw from the clip there, if that's the section of the episode I've clipped, Who knows when I come to edit it? I'll try and clip the bit, but that's the tank that Destro was in, all blowed up. So there you go. So yeah, there we are, folks. That's an Easter egg, cartoon Easter egg. And there's a lot of folks out there who've kind of got a bit excited about seeing these tanks. They're like, oh, could this be the next HasLab and stuff? And obviously we can't rule that out. It may well be the next HasLab, but I believe that this tank is featured in the artwork here because it's making reference to that particular episode, Hearts and Cannons. So there you go. All right, folks, that's 156, Footloose. The next character, 157, Law and Order. Yet more Easter eggs. Not in the mainline wave, but, you know, announced for pre-order at the same time as the mainline wave. And we can see here the Law and Order are out in a kind of jungle space with some huts and such like. Law's about to pluck some dynamite off the ground. You got Beachhead in the background, keeping an eye on things. Some people are speculating about whether that's a Tiger Force Beachhead or not, but I don't think it's Tiger Force Beachhead. I think it's just some weird kind of kit bash misdirect, because this is, of course, an Easter egg reference to the Beachhead training scene with Law and Order from G.I. Joe the movie. Let's take a look.
Let go, you dumb dog!
Order, give it to me. Good fella.
Get rid of that thing!
We thought you were playing, Beachhead. He's usually quite obedient.
I hope you both get fleas.
Not much else to say there, really. Training exercise, a dynamite retrieval training exercise, all sorts of laughs and humour and shenanigans in terms of the way that Beachhead connects with Law and Order. Yeah, you know, he hopes they both get fleas. So there you go, 157 Law and Order, folks. All right, ladies and gents, next up we have 159 Crystal Ball, the Walmart Collecticon exclusive. And here we can see in the background, there's like a city scene with skyscrapers. There's Firefly in the background there. There's a helicopter in the distance. This is a reference to a comic book team-up with Crystal Ball and Firefly from A Real American Hero issue 167 through to about 170, if I remember correctly. Is one thread in a larger storyline, a larger story arc about some stuff going on in the polar ice caps and whatnot. However, Firefly and Crystal Ball's involvement is trying to infiltrate a Joe building in Manhattan to get information about the stuff that's going on with the polar ice caps, basically. I won't spoil it. Here's a couple of the variant covers at the time from IDW depicting the team up between the two. Also grabbed a couple of panels out the comic book. Here they are showing Firefly and Crystal Ball infiltrating the building, making their way through. Crystal Ball using his hypnotic powers with the shield to get the people in the building to cooperate with them, although comes down to Firefly having to use some of his talents to get some cooperation a little bit later on. But yeah, this is a comic book reference, folks. This is referencing the Crystal Ball Firefly team up from the IDW era of A Real American Hero 167 through to about 170. And our last one today, folks, outside the main line, this is the Legacy Firefighter artwork here. And if we zoom in, we can see in the background, we've got a burning building. We've got what appears to be shipwreck being wrapped up in a blanket and a red sports car, a burnt out red sports car. Shout out once again to my man Bobby Dubs for putting the jigsaw pieces together on this one. And this is an Easter egg reference, at least Bobby and I believe that this is an Easter egg reference to the two-part episode from the Sunbow era called No Place Like Springfield. In the episode, Shipwreck is injured. He wakes up in hospital with a head injury, realizes that he has amnesia and has forgotten years of his life in which he lives in a beautiful house in a suburban area. He has a wife, he has a child, and he's forgotten all about it. And the red sports car that we can see in the firefighters artwork there is the red sports car that his wife and daughter drive him home in. Let's have a quick look at that.
Anything coming back to you?
Zilch. Looks just like a dozen other towns I know. Number 6 Village Drive. We're home?
Of course we are, Daddy.
All is not as it seems, though, folks, because it turns out that this is a nefarious Cobra scheme. The shipwreck has been kidnapped. He's being used by them. It's all a setup. It's a synthoid of Mara, the Cobra diver that he had feelings for in the past. The daughter is a synthoid. It's all mocked up. It's all a scam to try and draw G.I. Joe related secrets out of him. And later on in the episode, after he discovers the scheme, the house is burnt down, and we see a section of the episode where the home is burning. Let's take a look at that.
Mara! Althea! Mara!
In the living room, Hector!
Hi, Daddy.
Yes, darling, welcome home. To stay.
Why? I mean, I thought you loved me.
Mara, don't!
End of the line, synthoid suckers!
Synthoids. They were synthoids.
Bittersweet ending to this particular two-part episode, folks. Two-parter. Get your words out, Chris. I really got to stop recording these videos late. Because even though Shipwreck is rescued by Flint and Lady J, and he's unraveled the Cobra scheme, there's a little part of him longs for that quiet life with Mara and a daughter living in his little lovely picket fence suburban home, and he's he's scarred by it. So there you go. There's the Legacy Firefighter, folks. And there we are. That brings me to the end of my video. Of course, if there's an Easter egg out there in some packaging that I have not clocked, then please do drop me a DM or let me know in the comments down below. I love gathering these in and researching them. And it's always a great excuse, a great opportunity to rewatch old episodes or revisit comic books that I've not read in many, many years and refamiliarize myself with them. So I enjoy making these videos a great deal. Thanks very much for hanging out. Remember that it's likely this video has been demonetized and I'll have missed out on, a couple of tenths of a cent of ad revenue I'll have generated. So please, if you can, hit the like, maybe share it with a friend, just to help me out, just to get over the hump, because it'll be hidden basically from North American audiences for the first day or two, at least until the appeal goes through. I'm assuming if it goes the same way as it did last time. Maybe I'm saying this and I'm recording an outro to a video that will never see the light of day. For all I know, or I'll have to find shorter clips or something. But in any case, thanks for coming and hanging out. I hope you found this enjoyable. Please do come back again for another video sometime soon. But in the meantime, all that remains to say is I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week, and take it easy, all right? See you later, folks.